Today we're talking about Halloween, where it originated, and as Christians, whether we should celebrate or not. Let me start by saying I understand many celebrate Halloween because it's been a tradition for a long time and it's normal in our society. This is not a video to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do, but a video to bring up the history of Halloween, which many are unaware of. For all things in life, it's important to know what we're dealing with. If we align ourselves with a certain practice, we should at least understand the origins of that practice. So let's get into it. Halloween originated in medieval times from a death festival known as Samhain, which Celtics and their religious leaders known as Druids celebrated. Their New Year's Day was November 1st, so their New Year's Eve was October 31st. They believed on their New Year's Eve, the spirits of the dead could pass through and walk amongst the living. They would worship, idolize, and make burnt sacrifices to these spirits. The Celtics believed that by sacrificing to these spirits, the spirits would return the favor and provide information about their futures. So how does Halloween tie in with Christianity? The Roman invasion happened, where parts of the Celtic regions were conquered. The Romans wanted the Celtics to convert to Catholicism, and this is how All Saints' Day or All Hallows' Day was created, which later became Halloween, which means the eve of All Hallows' Day. Let's talk about the common activities or symbols of Halloween. Number 1, costumes. As previously mentioned, the Celtics believed during Samhain the spirits of the dead would walk amongst the living. To prevent themselves from being harmed by the evil spirits, they disguised themselves to look like them. This is where costumes come from. By wearing a costume, you're trying to blend in with the evil spirits so that the evil spirits don't harm you. Number 2, trick-or-treating. During Samhain, it's believed that the spirits of the dead would get hungry, and if they didn't have food or treats, they would become unsettled and begin to play tricks on people by tormenting them. For this reason, the Celtics would set out food and treats for the spirits. This is why trick-or-treaters say trick-or-treat. They're telling you to give them treats, or else they'll trick you or torment you. Number 3, jack-o'-lanterns. Jack-o'-lanterns represent the severed human heads that were cut off and used as decorations in the homes of the Druids. This is why jack-o'-lanterns have faces. The head was believed to have housed the soul. By carving pumpkins and using them as decorations around the house, it's a representation of the Druid practice of decorating their homes with sacrificed, severed human heads. There are varying accounts to the actual practices of Samhain. The ones I've highlighted seem to be the broader consensus, but regardless, what they do have in common is they're demonic and not of the Bible. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11 says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness."
Listen to what Pastor Vlad Savchuk has to say about celebrating Halloween. His logic at the end is hard to argue with.
The origin of Halloween, we know is evil. But some people will argue, well, Christmas and Easter, the origin is bad. But in reality, why we don't celebrate Halloween is because, not of just the origins, but because of what it promotes. It promotes darkness, it promotes fear, and it promotes death. As Christians, we're the light of the world. We are also people of faith, and we're people that promote life. And so I don't know how anybody, in the right mind, can celebrate something that brings death, darkness, and fear. We're already fighting devils and demons on every corner. And the founder of Satanism, he actually said, "I'm so glad that Christians allow their kids to celebrate the devil one day of the year." And so, if for Satanists and people who do Wicca and Voodoo, this is a very huge holiday, kind of like Christmas for us.
Hey, I don't judge people who celebrate Halloween. I just want you to consider something. God hates fear, celebration of death, darkness, and witchcraft because of the portals and invisible doors of destruction that they open. When it comes to demons and devils and monsters, God says that those beings are his enemy and are destroying mankind. Be careful what you celebrate and align yourself with in these last days. You might be cooperating with the very evil that is trying to destroy your soul.
October is witchcraft month, by the way. October is witchcraft month. Because you see, what the devil does to you, when you put on that costume, he has changed your identity. And once he changed your identity, he owns legal rights over your life. Oh, it was only one opportunity, one time. Well, talk to Adam and Eve. It only cost them one time. You give the devil one opportunity. Talk to Esau. For both soup, he lost everything. The devil needs one time to take everything that you own and everything what you stand for. He'll strip you. He'll rob you. He come to steal, kill, and destroy.
Hallows Eve, Halloween, that's All Saints' Day. They took that from the pagans. So All Hallows Eve originally intended, it's when the veil is the thinnest between the two realms, between the afterlife and life. The Christians came in, the Romans and the Catholics came in and told us we couldn't re-worship our gods, that we couldn't worship that because it was satanic, because it was dark, when in reality, my ancestors were building bonfires, they were giving sacrifices to their God for fruitful harvest of the next year, for safety of the winter, for fertility, for shelter, for life, for all of these things, and giving thanks and praising. And then the Romans came in and then they took our religion and they rebranded it as Christianity.
All Hallows Eve was the beginning of transition to Halloween. And then when the Irish came to America, they brought all of the tradition, and America commercialized everything. Listen to this, and so that you can find out.
Today as Halloween came from two sources: the Celtic paganism called Druidism, and of course, Roman Catholicism. First, let's talk about Druidism. The Druids were the pagan priests of the Celts over 2,000 years ago. These Druids had two main holidays: the Beltane to mark the birth of summer, and the Samhain to mark the end of summer. During the summer, the Celts paid tribute to their sun god, Baal. At the end of summer, they would pay tribute to their god of death, Samhain. This latter ritual, Samhain, was the Druids' most important ritual of the year, taking place on November 1st. The Druids believed that on Samhain, the veil separating the dead spirits and the living opened up, allowing the dead spirits to visit the living. Frightened, the Celts would wear costumes and masquerade as demons, evil spirits, ghosts, goblins, etc., hoping to convince these roaming spirits to leave them alone. The Druids also performed human sacrifices. They would require the firstborn child of each family, and these children will be sacrificed on the eve of Samhain, October 31st. On this eve, they would go door to door, initiating the first trick-or-treat. Upon receiving the human sacrifice, the Druid priests would leave what we refer today as a jack-o'-lantern in front of the doors. This was a treat in trick-or-treat. On the other hand, if the family gave no such sacrifice, the Druids would then use blood to paint a hexagram on their doorposts, thereby cursing these homes. These Druid priests would then come back later that night to burn down the house or work some other evil upon that family. This was a trick in trick-or-treat. In the year 835 AD, in an attempt to de-paganize Samhain and to use it for recruitment purposes, Pope Gregory IV turned November 1st into a holiday called All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows' Day, making October 31st All Hallows' Eve. That's where the name Halloween came from. This was when so-called Christianity adopted this dark ritual. This is the birth.
Most people think Halloween is the devil's holiday, or that it's all about scary costumes and candy. But the truth is actually very different, and it comes straight from the church. Halloween actually comes from All Hallows Eve, the night before All Saints' Day on November 1st. Originally, it was a holy vigil to honor the saints and pray for the souls in purgatory. The word hallow literally means holy. The early church encouraged this night as a time of prayer and a reflection on the victory of God and the saints over sin and death. Scripture even supports remembering the dead and honoring the saints. 2 Maccabees chapter 2 verse 44 to 46 shows prayer for the deceased. And Revelation chapter 5 verse 8 depicts prayers rising like incense before God. Over time, pagan customs from Celtic festivals, that's why modern Halloween looks like candy, scary movies, and witches. But the original purpose was holy, centered on life, death, and God's victory. Even trick-or-treating comes from a Catholic practice called souling, where people would go door to door praying for souls in purgatory in exchange for food.
Halloween is more than candy and customs for those who are in witchcraft. The founder of Church of Satan says, "I'm glad Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year." Promotes values contrary to me as a Christian. Darkness, death, and fear are not part of who we are. We're people of the light. The fruit of Halloween is not holiness, but the rise in crime and accidents and theft. And the Bible says, don't have fellowship with unfruitful works of darkness.